You're listening to the Elevated News Podcast with two dope dudes. Here are your hosts, Dave and Aaron. So, I think it was last year or the year before. Remember, it was like 100 million or 200 million was in that fund or whatever. And they were trying to give it back to the people who had paid, like the medical patients, medical card holders, and they were going to refund some of that money and give it back to the people.
Right.
Instead, what happened is that 40 million of that was taken by the state of Illinois to give to equity partners in cannabis, or like equity funded or something like that, to give to companies out there already.
And that's the best part about that is that they took $445 million in retail taxes last year on a plant that it just bugs me that
I know.
you need to take
Speaking
any
of
money from the medical industry that you literally rode the back of to have
Right.
your industry at all.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, the million.
Exactly.
I feel the same.
100%.
Yeah, fuck them. The GTI thing is kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past them though. They supposedly have this private message thread.
They have a Discord server, and so
it was a Discord.
It was a Discord. So it was a public space that, a public in terms of it is on a public website. It is a public space, or you know what I mean.
So there's no spying.
I don't know. I don't know if it was invite only, and if they got invited, if they got a like anti-union employee to get invited and then send them an invite thread. But if it was open to anybody to join, then I guess anybody could have joined. And if you could change your mind, then I guess, I don't know, you could tell somebody. I'm not pro or anti-union. I think there's both sides, but I don't know. There's a game to be played, especially when you're trying to unionize, and much like everything else, you take whatever advantage that you can.
That's great.
Yeah.
I
think this is all part of the game, in well, not game, but all part of the back and forth of unionizing. I think anybody should be able to unionize if you want to. Like
Yeah, I'm not,
I also think that anybody can go form a communist company where like everything's owned by everybody. There's no law stopping you from doing that right now. You know what I mean? So like if that's what you want, then you should be able to, have a say in that, if that's, what you're allowed.
Yeah. I've never been pro or against. I probably don't know enough about you to actually weigh my 2 cents on it. I guess I'm the idea of protecting the employee.
Yeah, 100%.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm fully on board with that. But I think again, it's another play to somehow. A union exists based off of making money.
Right. Everything is. Everything has to make money at some point.
Right. So then again, to unionize is to pay somebody else.
Yeah, you're paying somebody else to represent you who, in some instances, most instances, probably have your best interest in mind. But
is it the best interest of you or the best interest of the union?
It depends on where you're at, I guess.
So I guess I'm like, not.
It depends on, you can lose perspective. You have to do, what's for the greater good or whatever, I guess, however people want to justify it. I can't speak for other people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like,
I'm right there with you.
Politics is, a bunch of dorks. Politics is for dorks.
I respect.
Yeah. It's my polite way of saying things.
Yeah. It's the first time we're talking about it. We'll keep it calmer. But
politics is for dorks.
They definitely,
And they're with the Teamsters too, right?
yeah, that's what I'm reading
Which
here. Um, so
I
yeah,
I think I heard, if I remember correctly, the Teamsters are the only ones that are allowed to cross picket lines. If I remember correctly.
really?
Yeah, because they are the travel, right?
Oh,
They're the truckers, right? So they, if they're bringing construction equipment, or I know I've had Teamsters. I've met Teamsters in my day, with heavy equipment, bringing me
wow.
heavy equipment on the job site,
Yeah.
But I believe I heard that the other day. I could be wrong, but I'm 99% sure Teamsters are the one union that are allowed to cross picket lines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Eh,
Um,
related and unrelated. I don't know if that means anything, but
no, I dig it. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to sift through real quick and read this
it
thing, and it
looks like
sucks because these guys are like, I know.
the union files spying charges against Green Thumb Industries. Teamsters Local 777 filed an additional unfair labor practice charge against a multi-state cannabis operator in Illinois. It says it's from June 8th. Union representing cannabis workers at 3 Green Thumbs Industries retail locations in Illinois have filed an additional unfair labor practice charge against the Chicago-based multi-state operator.
Yeah, this is so it's funny that we can actually talk about these people because I actually know some of them directly,
Right,
and
for
it's the
sure.
first group that I had to deal with in corporate cannabis, and I have a nasty taste in my mouth from for them to begin. I put none of this past them at all, and
Right,
I believe that they will somehow use loopholes and excessive amounts of leverage, whatever that might be, money
right,
probably it, to get themselves into a position to get away with all of it. Honestly, I think if it was on Discord, Discord has you sign terms of use and
yeah,
service and whatever. And I have a feeling there's probably something within those terms of service that this company will sift through. They'll pay a lawyer to read every single line and sift through and get to the point where they find the loophole that they can sit within and go, but we were invited. Like you said earlier, if
right,
somebody invited them, even if it was, somebody who was playing the spy role, um, they were then allowed to be there. Now, could that individual spy or the person who gave access to could be held liable for whatever incrimination came from it? But it's kind of weird.
yeah. It says Green Thumb also told CBT, which is Cannabis Business Times. We're getting this from Crane's Business News. At the time that the company was compliant with its labor practices, stating that it respects the rights of its employees, including the fundamental right to organize and strike during labor negotiations. Green Thumb also agreed to raise worker wages by 50% during the strike, according to Teamsters. So at least they're well, they're required, if labor cards have been signed, then you're federally required by law to bargain in good faith. Like, that's
Right,
federal law.
right.
So anybody can organize and form a union. So it sounds like they're organized, or they're trying to bargain in good faith, or at least saying they are, by giving money out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
Big companies are going to be big companies, and that's what they do.
yeah. And to even pay these people literally 100% increase would be, I think, probably minimal. I
Yeah.
I believe that when I was last in the cannabis industry, I think we were making somewhere in the, if you were initial starting um, employee of that dispensary, I think you got somewhere in between 17 to $20 an hour based off of experience or something.
Right.
And when you broke down, because I did it once with the crew that I was with, when we were pulling in $2+ million worth of sales, it, which I mean was all 100+% typically markup product to
Right.
begin with. So you're talking about
Well,
$1
you're
million worth of profit, and your employment cost for the month is 40,000 or 60,000.
well. I mean, a company is supposed to. I mean, that's how you make money on a company. Is like you keep your labor costs as low as possible, and your operating costs, your overhead low as possible, and then you should be able to, have the market decide what the price is for your product, unless you have a superior product.
Yeah, or unless you have a monopoly,
Well,
and
I
you
mean, that's what
that's what we're
obviously.
dealing with here more,
Yeah, a
right?
hundred percent.
Like we've got a bunch of the good old boys who strong arm people into paying $60 for their shit product because they're the only 15 people in the state. And so long as you're willing to play the game with a bunch of the other shits, then you're willing to be part of the team. And that's what we see in Illinois. There's a separation. And I don't think that they're because we see smaller people existing still.
Yeah, black market
And
is thriving. Shout out to the black market.
yeah, shit, represent. They definitely fucking I don't know, it kills me that they're allowed to make the amount of money that they are, strong arm everybody into doing so, and then they don't even pay their employees anything really. And it's not that maybe it's not they don't pay them anything. It's that in the grand scheme of it, if your employment cost is 6% or whatever
Well,
the
because
fuck it.
they're incentivized now to be a company that makes money, to be a retail company. They're not incentivized to be a company that provides product for medical patients at all.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
No, it's 1,000% accurate.
They could strike down the compassionate care law, and they'd be just fine. And then they wouldn't even. I bet that will happen in the future. They'll strike that down, and you won't be able to find like medical products anymore in Illinois because
No,
they
it'll
won't be
all go.
required to make them.
So
You probably won't be able to find transdermal patches. You won't be able to find
I think well,
lotions or
I
balms.
think that all exists. I think it has to exist because you would lose so many folk from this thing. Even your moms and pops that are coming
Yeah,
through the thing are asking for topicals and
a
certain
hundred
shit. So you
percent.
have to have some regard. But
But it'll all be like, salves and edibles, and that'll be it. I bet 5-6 years down the road, mark my words now.
yeah,
Hot
I
take.
just don't.
Hot take right there.
Yeah, I respect it, and I understand. I'm fully on board with what you're saying. I just believe that there is space too for there to be um decent evolution in this program where separating the words medical and recreational means nothing. Cannabis as a whole it's just its own thing. Cannabis is cannabis no
Right.
matter what bottle you put it under, no matter what side of the store you sell it on, no matter how it's represented. But the end of the day, if we know that a product is more viable, and that's what I've always said, method of ingestion is
Right.
number one.
A
Like
hundred percent.
if you can't find if you are dealing with lower intestinal issues or even direct rectal or something of that nature issues and you don't have access to suppositories, I think you're doing yourself a great disservice. And I think that no matter what, especially with them bringing 200 more licenses on, probably 150 of them dispensary and probably 50 of them cultivation or whatever it is, 75 or whatever,
Right.
those new places, one of them is going to click on. It's not. See, the thing is, corporatism can't beat out what cannabis actually is. Cannabis culture will always thrive in my mind to where there's somebody out there, like at least myself, who cares way more
Oh yeah,
about
for
somebody
sure.
getting benefited for.
Well,
Uh,
I think the going back to the point that you were making about cannabis and the market and stuff like that. It's not that the we couldn't have those things. It's not that the government won't do it. It's that the government is incapable of doing it. Like, they don't have the manpower, they don't have the space to like step back and go, oh, like, how do we empower people to like grow their own medicine? And how do we empower people to like know how to do this and start a business with cannabis? You know what I mean? They're going, oh, well, you have to, whatever arbitrary, you know, rules and classes that they have in place to like get into cannabis, get a cannabis license, something like that,
Yeah.
whatever that is, then, that's what you have to follow instead of going, how can we incentivize, how can we have programs that like help people like learn about this stuff and learn how to make their own edibles or,
Wait, that's
something
you're
like that.
nailing it on the head. As if they can't make money from it, they're never going to promote it at all. And that's the whole point with all of this to begin
Right.
with, is that the government actually is fully on board with the adult use of
A
cannabis.
hundred
These are the
percent.
laws that fucking Illinois' government has signed into place happily, is that as long as you're old enough. But medical laws is
Well,
the
that's
the
an
medic
arbitrary number anyway. It's like the Illinois, they say if you have over 5 nanograms
yeah,
of
and what the
marijuana in your system, which is I think I read the other day that that was just an arbitrary number that they picked from some guy who worked at some lab, and that's just what they used in the bill is 5 nanograms. But I mean, that's just an arbitrary, like, nobody decided 5 nanograms is what the impairment, at the point that you're impaired. It could be 24 nanograms or 200 nanograms or like whatever it is. It's just an arbitrary number. We also decided 100% is the maximum of something. It could have just as easily been 20 or 500.
right, right.
Arbitrary, you
Yeah,
know.
in the same respects, the reason why we don't have cannabis as a medicine at all is an arbitrary reason. There's nothing that actually supported it. And in fact, if there was anything, there was more support for cannabis being used as a medicine since forever than there hasn't been. And the
Right.
full basis of why the government does not allow people to use cannabis naturally to begin with is because they believe that it is an addictive substance with the potential of harm and has zero medical benefit. We're talking about people who are clearly, you're being lied to, you're being manipulated, and they can't sit back and say, we don't know it anymore.
Right.
It's literally common knowledge and accepted by all fucking professionals, scientists, mathematicians,
Yeah.
and across the fucking globe. Like, this thing does have some properties that benefit in reality: inflammation, spasticity, neurological conditions, things like epilepsy. We've even seen it pull the glory stories out with cancer and things
Yeah.
of that. So to say that it has zero medical benefit and to restrict access to it unless we can sell it for taxable profit,
Well, I
then
mean,
that's okay. It's the weirdest fucking shit that I've ever.
it's one path, it's one path to, I mean, there's definitely a lag time with the government, and because you have to have, there's so many things that go into it. Like, you have to have public support, and you have to have, avenues in place,
I mean,
and you have to have like, common use and
brother,
all
we're
that
talking
stuff.
about
I know, but we're getting
1996.
there. We're getting there. We're making progress. Unfortunately, there are some states that are taking different avenues by way of taxing the shit out of it and restricting it as a path to it being more common use. And then there's other places like I think Missouri is a little bit more lax, and Michigan is I think pretty wide open. Probably not as wide open as like Oregon or something like that, but you know they're kind of like let everybody do it, and we're kind of taking the you know
The
tax it.
criminalistic,
Yeah. Well, yeah,
yeah, the
it's not legal here. It's, well, regardless of what they
decriminal.
say, it's only decriminalized, and we just have a structure to tax cannabis.
Well, and that's it. Is it's decriminalized by an arbitrary number that they tell you that you can possess.
Hmm.
We're the only dumbass fucking state that doesn't say fucking 1 ounce or 2 ounces or something, and we say 30 fucking grams. What the fuck is that?
That's
Doesn't
that's a little more than an ounce.
yeah?
That's
I mean, it's
I mean, hey,
it's
I'm just
28
saying,
grams.
if I'm getting 30-gram ounces, then my guy likes me.
Yeah, and I mean, I trust you, me, run
You know what
that.
I mean? Like, keep going to that guy.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting 30 gram ounces, good for you.
Yeah.
But like that's a very arbitrary number, and why would you say 30 grams?
But that's the whole point. Is like, so you and I get to possess 30 grams, but GTI, who's spying on people and whatever, they get to possess thousands, literally thousands of pounds of cannabis between their cultivation sites and their retail stores, so long as they guarantee the big gang that they're going to pay their fucking money.
They're not even, they're the people who have transportation licenses. Supposedly these people have to, like, these companies have to transport this stuff, but supposedly there's all these transportation people who have licenses who have never done one single thing. Like they can't get hired by the companies to transport anything. And it's just hey, here's all these licenses. And like, I don't think, very few of those people are doing anything with them.
Oh, but that's the whole point. That's why Illinois has also been such a blunder. And that's why it's like, there's always been some corruption, right? Around the old Crook County bullshit, whatever.
We've had a couple of governors go to jail, Governor Ryan, Governor Blagojevich.
Yep. It's
I think
a constant scheme. We all know.
It's Chicago Democrat
Crook
Society.
County.
Yeah, Crook County.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
everybody's got to get there, as I get it, but like, it's not a fast innovation moving place.
I mean, from my understanding, the fucking toll booths were only supposed to be there
supposed
for
to be temporary
10 years or something like that, they said, and then it'd be done.
I still knew people who worked in toll booths. I had a friend, Chris, who worked at the Aurora toll booth.
No shit.
Yeah, punk rock kid. Big old ears like your buddy Kevin.
Yeah,
he's cool, dude.
Yeah.
Like you don't see those anymore. There's no toll booth operators. It's all automatic, and
all fucking, now it's all fly through as fast as you can. Don't even stop anymore. Don't slow down.
No, I know.
Don't go to those booths. Those are going to start getting removed.
No, they have been getting removed. They have to keep a 1 or 2 lane open, for the police, because I think they use that as like a base of operations sometimes.
Yep.
And then wide load semis or overflow for accidents.
Yeah.
I'm definitely known to go through the toll booth just to bypass some traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't drive like me.
Yeah. I'm
a good boy. No tickets, no accidents, but don't drive like me.
Drive like me, please.
Probably.
I'm ready to go. Ready to get out of the way.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely get out of the way if somebody's not going. If somebody's up on me, I'm getting out of the way. But I'm also one of those people who's, you need to get out of my way too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely pacifist in that way. Try not to get too hyped up, because that's a weird situation anyway. Like you're already at a 10 or at a 9 subconsciously driving on the interstate or something.
Yeah. And what the hell are you gonna do about it?
Exactly. You're gonna get there.
Irrationally.
Get there.
Yeah. And when you get there, smoke some weed and calm the fuck down.
Yeah. We're not advocating for smoking any weed while driving. That's no.
Nope.
Not even a little toots roots. Not even a little.
No, if
the vape pen. No, don't do it.
Yeah,
5 nanograms. Don't get caught.
I literally have.
God.
Now that we have the groundwork in place for us to do the fucking thing, like, why would you step outside, right? Why push Big Brother to come over here and fight your ass because of something so trivial?
For sure.
Something that they should never have the ability to fight you on to begin with.
Right.
But then instead you give them enough power by not knowing the basics, And I think that was the other thing too about like cannabis back in the past. All of us had a commonness about how we would talk about, react to, and interact around cannabis, where now
I remember going into the dispensary, and back when it was medical only, because I have a caretaker Illinois caretaker license, so I would go in there, and like I wouldn't ever say, like, I would never allude to the fact that I was also using the product.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it was just like faux pas in my mind.
Yeah,
like it's like going to a head shop and it's for tobacco use
only.
And
so like that's what I was gonna say. I remember the days when they kicked you out. I literally got kicked out of a glass shop for
Oh yeah,
asking for a
100%,
bong.
100%.
No, sorry, we don't have bongs here. You got to go. And I was like, I see him right there. Like, let me see
No,
that
that's a
thing. They're
water
like,
pipe.
that's a water pipe, dude. And no, we don't sell bongs here. If you're gonna use that for weed, you got to get out of here. And I was like, whoa, dude, like, isn't this
Well,
place here to fucking
well,
do the
because
weed thing? And then
you're trying to. Well, and that's only because I don't fault that person.
I
I
don't
don't fault
either.
that rule either
I don't
because you're
mind
trying
it.
to abide by a law that's restrictive so that you can, just
But that's the whole
exist.
thing is once I
Yeah.
understood the lingo, and
Right.
I had to mess up once to be like, oh, okay, that
Oh
like,
yeah,
and
I
that, if
didn't
that's
know.
the worst thing I have to do is
Yeah.
to call it a water pipe
Yeah.
instead of a
Man,
bong, like,
I'd really like
right.
to
But that's,
go buy a pack of cigarettes and empty them all out and put them in this clean glass pipe.
but I think that's like why I
Have
would
you ever
like to
tried that? Do you
clean
ever
up.
do that?
No,
Terrible.
no,
Don't do it.
I would.
Not good. Don't chooch tobacco.
Ugh, ugh. Sounds terrible, actually.
Terrible. Hey, when you're like 15,
Do a
you
little
don't
bit
know.
of
You're
it.
like, all right, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. I already smoke anyway. Or I
Ugh.
did at that time.
Ugh. And I think really like the bong word, it plays into this thing where I hate the terminology around cannabis. I think that it also alludes to things that aren't as beneficial as the plant itself can be. Like if we say the word weed, that is something we should spray a killer on. If we
100%.
right, nobody wants to fucking ingest a
But I still
weed.
say weed, man.
Yeah, I mean you can say weed,
You want to go
man,
smoke
but
some weed,
like,
man? But see, that's part of the pop culture
but
that allows the avenue for people to being open to understanding how cannabis can be used as a medicine and how it can benefit them because it's so commonplace with pop culture for so many years. Although we definitely don't necessarily agree with the I'm gonna go smoke weed, man.
yeah,
Like
we,
we
but
get
like,
it, but like we
it's the
don't.
word high. Okay.
Right.
I mean, the worst of all of them
Well,
is
yeah,
the word
high.
high.
Because I'm
How
not
the fuck do you
high.
associate high with cannabis only when you can be high
Well,
on methamphetamines and high on opiates and high on narcotics, but then you call cannabis high too. So somebody who comes in as a first time user, which I saw more than you would ever imagine,
right.
that said, I don't want to get high. And I went, yeah, I know what you mean,
Mhm.
but I don't know what you mean because what does high mean to you? Like, do you not want to feel out of body
Right.
and like floating away? That's not how this thing interacts with you. This thing's
Yeah.
kind of gentler and a little bit easier to consume.
Well, if you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. I was literally talking to my dad's girlfriend, partner, or whatever the other day, and I was recommending some CBD balm for
Okay.
her elbow, and I found myself telling her, and I told my dad too that much like when you take vitamins for a deficiency, we use CBD and THC, but CBD as a regulatory, supplement for our endocannabinoid system. And so, and that is a different way that you can definitely explain to like older people or people who don't understand like how it works, like, and they kind of get that, you know what I mean? Instead of
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm getting high. What I say is like, yes, if smoke, it is a byproduct, you can get high if there's THC. That is a byproduct. That's
Yeah, but you
a
can get
plus.
and this is why I say too is like you get intoxicated because if we use the word intoxicated interchangeably with the
Also,
word high.
Dave Cope is the one who told me that. I'm not taking credit. I'm not that smart.
No,
Dave Cope said it.
You're fine. I love it. I'm happy to hear it fucking actually spoke by somebody else.
Right.
'Cause
I listen. I mean, there are people who listen.
yeah, and it's the truth though. When this thing is actually respected and represented the correct way.
And then when I said that to her, I said, would you be open? Because I know that like she doesn't never smoked. I don't think she drinks. And her mom's like very teetotaler, like very straight, like, and these are older people, I'm talking like 60s, 70s. And when I said that to her and I said, would you be open to trying some like cream for your arm, your elbow that hurts a lot? And she said, oh yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. I
And
said, you
that's
won't get high, but like, if you take the base form, the plant, you can get not high. I shouldn't say that, but you can become have an altered state of understanding or you know whatever is as short as it may be. It's just a byproduct. It goes away. It's
A
cool.
1000%. And
Right.
I
And she's
literally
like, heck yeah, I'm totally down. So now I gotta go get some balm for my dad's girlfriend.
I did that countlessly.
Oh
I
yeah.
The amount of people that came in the first time and said, "I don't want nothing. I don't want
Right.
to feel high. I don't want anything." You start off with something light like a topical or something that will actually give you a generalized comfort. But that's if you're dealing with something that a topical responds to,
Right.
right? So, I mean, if you've just got general aches and pains, little
She
muscle
like,
soreness and stuff like that,
yeah.
that stuff will be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Even then, like I use
Well,
that
she had surgery. She's got like a rod in her arm now, and she's recovering from surgery
bingo.
after a year. But she still gets some pains, and she can't turn as much as she used to. And I just, I noticed her setting her arm down on the table, and ow, and yeah,
I think a thousand
it's
percent
better
you're
than
looking.
like telling her to take ibuprofen, which
Yeah.
is just the the most prescribed for inflammation and probably the greatest cause of inflammation
Oh, I know it's
of like
disgusting.
joints and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and because they become regimented by it,
Right.
because you can only take 3 of them a day or whatever it
Right.
is, and as long as I just stay under my 3 limit, then I'm perfectly
Right.
fine.
And it
The irreparable damage to my liver or my
yeah,
whatever
exactly
doesn't
else. Whatever other
necessarily
system.
matter. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, I
Or
think that's
compensating from lack of pain or something like that or lessen pain.
and
Yeah.
yeah, that's the other thing too is like don't mask it super hard so that you get the rebound and go even harder yourself because you now have
Right.
a feel good. Like we need to
Don't be
use this
David
thing
Goggins. Blow out your
100%.
knees,
Right. Use it
Cam
for
Hanes.
proper use, and if you actually properly use it with regularity even sometimes, then you get some decent results. And it can be as much as like a one-time shot, wow, I feel really good.
Yeah.
But cannabis is not a one-time fix it all type thing. It's something that you go back to or you lean into every once in a while because of what it's turned into. And I watched a lot of people like dad's wife or
Yeah.
whatever who used just a little tiny bit of that something on their arm and they're like, shit,
Right.
that worked.
Yeah.
And then like, it's like, well, and it's short lived, right? Cannabis stuff is
Yeah.
short lived. It's non invasive. It's not
Right.
super intoxicating as far as
Yeah.
intoxication goes.
Right.
There's a gentleness to this thing where once you give somebody a topical or something and they find any relief at all,
Mhm.
transitioning up is
Yeah.
so much easier. I'm okay with exploring
Yeah.
because tell me what else could do it. Cause this isn't 100%. Well,
Yeah, no,
and
nothing's 100%.
that's what I
I mean,
always tell
even
'em all the
even even
time.
going to the medical doctor, it's only a treatment for whatever symptom. I mean, if it's like there's a difference between like symptoms you can live with and things that are an actual problem that need to be solved. Like a broken arm needs to be solved. Like if you have asthma, that's a symptom that needs to be treated. And those are two different things that people don't think about or even understand most times. You know what I mean? And
But
cannabis is a thing that can help alleviate symptoms, you know?
the only two conditions at this point that I would put my hat in the ring on saying they are directly treating would be cancer and epilepsy.
Oh,
And even
for
then,
sure. I'm just saying that, like, as a rule, like,
it's symptom relief.
right, it's symptom relief.
That's it.
So, like, it's about understanding what you're looking for
Yeah,
first.
bingo.
If you understand that, then you can more easily understand how cannabis can help you.
Yeah, don't make this thing something that it isn't. It
Right.
isn't I always used to hold my fingers up in a small manner like this and be like, "Oh, so they're looking for the thing." And
Mhm.
it's like, a pill size thing. And I'd always look through my fingers and like try and make people understand that like you can't see this. There's no thing in between my fingers. Everybody wants there to be something there so that I can just plop it into my mouth,
Right.
swig a little water, and then boom, it heals me, and I'm on and running. And like that is not how any of this works at all. It will never
Well,
work
that's not
like
how
that.
life works.
But I believe that if you stay mindless in some regards and you don't pay mind to the idea that you have deeper things going on, then you almost never get the true benefit of what cannabis is capable either, because you believe that it's going to do way more than it will ever be capable of.
Right.
And it's merely, to me,
It
symptom
sounds
relief is good enough. Not only is symptom relief good enough, it's 90+% of Western medicine is
uh
symptom relief.
yes. That was my point earlier, is that Western medicine is like, it is symptom relief. Unless you have an issue that you go, doc, I can't, like we need to change this, and you have the means.
Name
I
one
mean,
cure that we've come up with in modern medicine. We're a bunch of smart motherfuckers.
I'm not
See, we don't have any. The problem is you don't have to. There's not.
I'm not advocating. I'm just
We
saying.
don't cure shit. We don't want to
No,
fix
well,
shit.
I mean, well, that's a whole entirely other different podcast talk.
Yeah.
That's a whole, no, it should not exist, but it does, and that's what it is. And
So if we
at least if you understand what it is,
which is symptom alleviation,
Right.
which is a lot of times you go into a doctor says a strong few words that scare the shit out of you, things that you don't know what they mean. Multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia,
yeah,
Ehlers-Danlos, and you might have a general idea of what it means, but you don't really know yourself after a while, and you don't really pay attention to it. It's really easy to become mindless and just take things because you've been told you have a condition.
I don't know. Depending on, like depending on some medications, you have to have a legitimate ongoing relationship with your doctor. I have a legitimate ongoing relationship with my doctor, and I mean, I feel like she understands me pretty well. She asks me questions: "How you doing? How you feeling? Do you have anything new that is ailing you? How's your mood? Like, are you good? Do you feel like your levels are good?" Yeah, I have a good doctor. It's not like, it's some super expensive doctor. It's at like, one of the local hospital systems, but like that's what it is. I don't know, like, if you have a bad doctor and you have insurance, I mean, you have the ability to change your doctor probably. So you should do that. If you
Yeah.
don't like your doctor, I mean, I know they said that if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor, but we know that wasn't true. But like, there's other doctors out there. You can go find a doctor.
But that's the whole thing is what is a doctor? It's not some fucking godlike creature that's well more knowledge than we are able to be. We're able to find out everything that they've ever learned. They're not some deistic creatures that don't have.
No, but they're at least like, no, but we know that for them, I'm speaking generally, that for the most part they've been through some sort of regimented education system.
100%. And they're also
we put belief in that, and that they are practicing medicine. Like, yeah, you can know and understand something, but they're like actively practicing for a certain amount of time. They should know what they know. That doesn't mean that that's the way it is, but
yeah, when you get I don't, maybe you haven't had any, but when the state says do your education and keep up on your education.
oh yeah, no, I know.
How many of those things are fudged? And probably more than not, right? Would be my guess.
I mean, I've been licensed by the state for a couple different professions, by ICC and Department of Health, stuff like that. So I know it's.
Do you know how many fudge documents were around when I existed?
I would never admit to ever falsifying any.
I didn't falsify a damn thing.
No,
Do you know how many fudge things I watch
people around me, that just the way that they thought and acted in life probably did that.
Ongoing education is a beautiful way of trying to regulate something, but and this is the only thing. You also, the only reason I get upset about it is because I feel like you can take your health into your own hands at a certain point.
100%.
Yes, you have to understand, I respect the fuck out of doctors, and plenty of them, even specialists, if you understand what you are specializing in and you stay and you as the person going to the doctor know that you are going to a specialist who only understands one aspect of things, that's perfectly fine. But to understand all.
I think what you're trying to say, and I'm sorry to interrupt, I think what you're trying to say, but before I lose this thought, is that there's a certain type of person who's more inclined to be introspective and have an understanding about their health and life, and are more inclined to maybe alter their mind with different substances. And then there's other people who just probably don't get it and will never get it.
And I don't mind either way.
I think you're
I'm
saying
not
there's
mad
smart
at
people
anybody.
who smoke pot, and then there's other people.
I'm saying that you have the ability to take your health into your own hands
100%.
with a plant.
100%.
And you don't have to rely on some educated fool who literally 90 probably plus percent of the times is a symptomatic reliever who is doing nothing more than hustling you some regulated drugs the same way that a dispensary is doing whatever the fuck a dispensary is
I
doing.
mean, I would say you should in a perfect world you should be able to trust both of them and be able to use both of them. I think that
100%, I'm on board with
that's
that.
ideally like you should
100%.
you
I
should
actually think lean into doctors.
yeah,
They're great. They're
you
knowledgeable folks, and there's plenty. I
100%.
have good doctors too. I trust the people
if
that
I
I go
have
talk
cancer,
to.
I'm going to go to a doctor. I'm not going to Steve Jobs and be like, I'm on an apricot diet for my liver cancer or whatever.
Right.
That's not. I don't want to call people. That's probably not the best course of action for me. You know what I mean?
And it's
like,
all to
there's
each
definitely
individual,
more
though.
high probable things to do if you want to combat that. Than be on a mango diet. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Or whatever, whatever crazy,
and I respect that, but
I mean, like, if that's what you want to do, you should be free
your
to do
idea
that.
of taking care and treating your cancer, though, is to go to the doctor and just let them pump you full of things that are going to kill your.
No, I'm saying you should have multiple options. You should say you should have a doctor that is advocating for your best care, and hopefully that includes cannabis as medicine, because cannabis as medicine, as you know, Dave, is fantastic at treating cancer. CBD and CBDGs,
symptoms of cancer.
Symptoms of cancer.
That's the way. Even
people have said people have said that it treats cancer directly, but I don't know that there's any studies that I could personally cite.
I put my hat on it. David Daddy Mary does a decent amount out in Israel.
I would guess that, I would guess that it probably does if I had to take my best educated guess. But symptoms of cancer for sure, especially chemo, stuff like that, great at like helping you eat, helping you like not have an upset stomach, maybe sleep at night, something like that for sure.
And CBD being a compound with CB2 receptors being most stimulated, and CB2 receptors playing more in your immune system.
Right.
When we take chemotherapy and shut down our immune system,
right.
If we have a regulator that actually has the ability to regulate some of the immune responses, 100%. Like CBD, then we have a far greater chance of getting through some of the harshness of what some of the treatment paths are too.
Right.
And I'm not saying that up or down. I don't know how I would react personally, but I would start me individually. If I went to a doctor and he told me I had cancer, I would start personally with my diet first.
Yeah.
I would use exercise after that. And I would use things like cannabis as a treatment path well before I went into a doctor's office and allowed them to give me chemotherapy or radiation. And if you would have told somebody back in Cold War days that we were using radiation to treat your fucking your cancer, nobody would have fucking been on board. But you get far enough away from the scare of nuclear, whatever the fuck it is.
It's effective. It is effective. It's just, does the treatment kill you before the before the cancer?
Bingo.
Before you kill the cancer. It's just a race. It's literally a race. Can my body hold out longer than the cancer with the radiation?
Bingo.
You know what I mean? It's very unfortunate.
So
I've had family die from cancer. I've had cancer. I had skin cancer. It's it's a weird feeling.
1,000, but it's weird to be classified as, because people forever have been dying without the classifications of things, and they haven't known that there was something going wrong until you went, "Ow, something is wrong."
Right.
And you go in.
That's why
what's going on, and they go, "Oh, you got a big lump in your shit," and then boom. Now
that's why you should go to your doctor regularly, and B, you should use cannabis maybe regularly, and
diet
be introspective enough with yourself to understand that what's good for you and what's not good for you. You know what I mean? Like, whatever that is for you. But like, we're advocating for for people to take care of themselves. So
take
I'm
your
not
take your health
necessarily-
into your hands.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not
my
necessarily pro or anti-doctor. I'm
Neither
saying
way. Neither way.
I have a good relationship.
neither
And
way.
I've been seeing doctors literally all
If
my
I
life.
came across in a way where I was anti-fucking doctor, it's not. I think that we put too much faith in these humans, and I think that a lot of the people that I hear talk about doctors hold them at a deistic level that doesn't make any sense for you to get any better with your condition, because
some
they are
people
not
like
treating your
Dr.
condition.
like Dr. Truth Science, you know, who would have you say that, you know, science or their word or whatever they believe is infallible. But I would say that, like with everything, like things are changing and there's different perspectives or different, you know, new things that come along that can change that. And again, there's always going to be a lag time if there's bureaucracy at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But definitely that's why you should take your health into your own hands so that
At the
you
end
can
of the-
make good informed choices for yourself.
And be comfortable with what is happening, because adding a level of anxiety and stress that people do by not knowing themselves personally, by not understanding what chemicals would even play in your system by taking them or how they could affect you long term. We take so many medications. Have you ever actually read the like list of shit that is on the outside of your medication stuff? Some of the words that they put in there is wild.
It's too many words for me.
It's
I have ADD, so like if I start reading, I'm like, I could probably read all of them, but I would stop paying attention after like the third, you know, dopamine beta falafel, you know, and waffles and whatever it is.
Add the syrup, baby.
Yeah, add the syrup. You know, I need some Canadian, some of that maple. Some of that good. Some of that good.
Tap a tree, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, well, see, trees just give us all things good.
Trees do give us all things good. Speaking of trees, smoke some weed.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yo, ding dong, we're done here. Time to go.